Last week, a Colorado dentist was arrested over the murder of his wife by lacing her protein shake with cyanide, leaving their 6 children without a mother. Why would he do such a thing? So he could start a new life with another woman. This is the toxic case of James Craig, the deadly dentist. Now, everybody hates the dentist. There aren't too many experiences in life that compare to the vulnerability that comes with having a person's hands inside your mouth, rummaging around with sharp metal tools. It's an experience we almost always dread, but on rare occasions, having a good dentist can sometimes be the difference. Well, for several people in Colorado last week, they likely would have been relieved to discover that their dental appointment was abruptly cancelled, but I'm sure the relief they initially felt soon turned to shock, as the face of their local dentist was now plastered all over the news as a murderer. 45-year-old dentist James Tolliver Craig has now been officially charged with the murder of his 43-year-old wife, Angela Craig, a loving mother of 6. New evidence has recently come to light which shows James had searched online for poisons that could kill a person without detection, and even ordered a canister of toxic potassium cyanide just 2 days before his wife mysteriously died. According to the arrest warrant, James Craig intended to start a new life with his alleged lover, whose name is yet to be identified. The late Angela Craig was taken to the hospital after complaining of dizziness and headaches, but her condition quickly deteriorated as she was placed on a ventilator. Unfortunately, just 2 days later, she was declared brain dead and taken off life support on Sunday, the 19th of March. Investigators claim that James had been exchanging sexually explicit emails to his mistress in Denver, while his wife was dying in the hospital. To make matters worse, this certainly wasn't the first time Angela had visited the hospital under similar circumstances. In a series of emails viewed by investigators, the alleged murderer had actually made travel plans for his mistress to visit him on dates that lined up almost precisely with Angela's various hospital visits. This means that while James Craig's wife was lying there in critical condition, fighting for her life, he was busy organising meetups with his mistress. On Monday morning, Craig was arrested and charged with his wife's murder. The arrest affidavit points towards several motives for the murder, including infidelity, financial problems, and a past incident in which James quite literally poisoned Angela on an earlier occasion. In early March, when Angela began to exhibit symptoms and first went to the hospital, she actually told her husband by text that she quote-unquote felt drugged. Police believed at this time she had been poisoned with arsenic by her very own husband. The affidavit further claims that the dentist had used the computer at his office to search how much arsenic is needed to kill a person, and placed orders for arsenic, cyanide, and oleandrin, 3 deadly chemicals which can certainly be used for murder. His disturbing web searches also included how many grams of pure arsenic will kill a human, and is arsenic detectable in an autopsy. He was also found to have accessed an article titled 6 Deadly Undetectable Poisons, and coincidentally, soon after, a shipment of arsenic was delivered to Craig's house on March 4th. With doctors initially unable to figure out what was wrong with Angela Craig, police began investigating her husband after his dental practice partner, Ryan Redfern, told a nurse about his recent orders. According to Ryan, these chemicals were not required at the time, and so James had no legitimate reason to be placing this order. Investigators believe that on March 6th, James put arsenic in his wife's protein shake, which he routinely made for their workouts. But after she survived the poisoning, James then ordered a rush shipment of potassium cyanide that he told the supplier was needed for an urgent surgery. Although James had asked an office manager not to open the package of cyanide, luckily another employee did, which is how they were able to identify the strange order. And to add yet another strong piece of evidence into the mix, during the investigation, authorities managed to intercept a delivery of oleandrin, which James Craig is also accused of ordering. Oleandrin is a poisonous substance and was likely purchased to be the final nail in the coffin for his dying wife, Angela. Rather surprisingly, poisoning is actually quite a rare method of homicide, with data suggesting that it is used in less than 1% of all murder cases. The reason for this is that with modern forensic techniques, we are now able to identify virtually any toxic agents in a corpse, even if they are present only in minuscule amounts. So with this in mind, it would appear choosing to poison somebody is not just an incredibly evil thing to do, but for somebody who wants to evade conviction, it's just plain stupid. Also, after the investigation had kicked into high gear, James Craig genuinely tried to convince an associate that Angela had asked him to order the cyanide for her because she was apparently suicidal and lacked the proper credentials to obtain it herself. Craig reportedly always had a troubled marriage with Angela, having multiple affairs over the years with several different women. He was also addicted to pornography since he was a teenager, which had been an ongoing battle throughout the marriage. In fact, the marital issues had gotten so bad that James Craig had previously told a social worker that his wife had been depressed ever since he supposedly asked for a divorce back in December of last year. But to contrast this, Angela's sister seemed to claim the complete opposite, as she confided to the police that James was in fact the depressed one in the marriage. And due to being on the verge of bankruptcy for a second time, Angela had expressed concern that he was planning to commit suicide with a lethal injection. The arrest of James Craig has left Angela's family grappling with a lot of grief and a lot of anger. Craig had ran the Summer Brook Dental Group practice before his arrest, and the group actually filed for bankruptcy protection in 2020 and had applied at the beginning of March close to this case. The office's website was deactivated on Monday, but an archived 2021 press release said that he and Angela Craig were happily married and had 6 children together. A client of Craig's was quoted as saying that their first thought was really of the couple's kids. "I just can't imagine children being without a mother and potentially even without their father." Craig made his first appearance in court on Monday when he was held without bond and prohibited from contacting his children, 3 of whom are younger than 18. Well, the evidence is certainly stacked up against James Craig, and I can't personally see any way that he is not guilty here. But as of right now, all of the information I've provided is pretty much everything that has been released to the public. The likely reason being that according to court records, James Craig is being represented by the Public Defender's Office, which does not comment on cases. However, it is speculated that James will face life imprisonment if he is eventually convicted of first-degree murder. Nevertheless, he is set to appear in court on Thursday the 23rd of March, so if you're interested in this story, make sure to subscribe as I'll be following up very soon to provide further updates. But in the meantime, make sure to check out the other recent murder case of Abby Choi, a Hong Kong model whose body was found stuffed into a refrigerator.